Alright, so last night was a really great theater experience. I went to the 7 o'clock showing of Anchorman, and then right afterwards was Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues, double feature. It was like $17, but it was really worth it because I haven't seen Anchorman 1 in theaters and I really wanted to. Because Anchorman is my favorite comedy of all time and my second favorite movie of all time. And after watching it, Anchorman I think is my favorite movie of all time. So this isn't a review for Anchorman, this is a review for Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. With bringing back the cast of the first one and a lot of cameos in this new movie, and a new cast with Megan Good in there as well, with Kirsten Wiig also starring as the love interest for Brick Tamlin, played by Steve Carell. And this movie is about the four Channel 4 news team members, Will Ferrell, Paul Rudd, Steve Carell, and David Kushner, all kind of doing their own separate things, and some of them are lower in life than the other. And Ron Burgundy gets this job offer for a 24-hour news team in New York, and he accepts it. But he wants to get his old news team back together. They all traveled to New York to work on this 24-hour news team, and they kind of got competition with James Marsden. He's kind of like the dick bad guy of the storyline, but I really like the story. It pokes a lot of fun at how news is now, that some news isn't what people should know, it's what people want to hear, and they poke a lot of fun at that throughout the whole movie. So Anchorman 2 was my most anticipated movie of this year, and my most anticipated movie in 9 years. Ever since I saw Anchorman, I wanted a second movie, and it took forever for it to come out. A lot of ups and downs. It was yes, it was no, and it finally came out. And what were my thoughts on Anchorman 2? Okay, I gotta say that Anchorman 2 was hilarious. There were a lot of scenes that I was laughing at. This is gonna be a long review, I'm just gonna say. There's a lot of scenes where I was laughing at. In the beginning, I was dying. There's a lot of scenes where I was just laughing so hard. And I think Brick Tamlin, Steve Carell, does a really great job. And I think he was the most funny thing in the movie. Him laughing makes me laugh. And I think everybody in the movie stuck to their characters and were great at what they brought in the first movie. And they were so hilarious at it. And the one thing I had a problem with, the only person that didn't really feel like themselves was Ron Burgundy. In the first movie, Ron Burgundy is a very confident person. He knows what he wants, he gets to it, and there's no gimmicks, and that's what makes it so funny. Right off the bat, I honestly felt like Ron Burgundy was weak and not confident in this movie. There was a few scenes throughout the movie, many scenes, where something would be happening to Ron Burgundy and he would kind of step back and just let it happen. And that's not the Ron Burgundy I know. The Ron Burgundy I know stays classy and is the man of San Diego, and I think that New York City is a big thing for him, so he's taking it all in. So that's where I think an issue I had with the movie, that he wasn't as confident as he was in the first movie, because in the first movie he says everything and it's so damn funny. Another issue I had in the first movie, I hyped up Anchorman 2 a lot. In the first movie, Will Ferrell made the situations funny. In this movie, the situation, let me repeat that. Will Ferrell made the situations in the first movie. And this one, Anchorman 2, the situations were happening to Will Ferrell. You guys may kind of understand that. In the first movie, he was making funny situations, and the situations he was getting himself involved in were hilarious. And this one, things were happening to him that were funny. I think that they took a lot of the scenes to the extreme. A lot of scenes they overdid. With a baby dolphin and not baby dolphin, baby shark, sorry. The end, a lot of scenes were kind of over the top, and just too much to the extreme. There were a lot of scenes that had potential to be funny, where they could added a joke in there, but instead they just let it be. The first half of the movie was really great, or the first 2/3 of the movie were really great, but the last third of the movie kind of just fell apart. The writing wasn't very good. Kind of was confused on a few things, but like I said, they had a lot of potential for more jokes and more things to come out, but they just didn't happen. It just let it be. A lot of cameos in this movie that I was surprised about. I heard that there were a few people, but there were a lot of people in this movie. Megan Good was funny. She was alright in the movie. Kirsten Wiig was hilarious with the love interest of Brick Tamland. Both of them worked so well with each other. It was hilarious. I think Steve Carell was the funniest thing in the movie, with his laughs and his gimmicks and his dumb jokes and the things he said. And you know what was so great about the first Anchorman is that at that time in 2004 there was nothing like that movie. And that's why I think it was the funniest movie I've ever seen, because such the dumb lines that they said, the things that happened to them, the things that they were creating, the bear fights, Baxter, everything about the movie was funny. And I think that was, at that time in 2004, there was nothing like that. So now, in 2013, we've had plenty of these movies, and it's kind of things we've seen already, and we've heard and seen already. And you know, it's still a lot of stuff was funny, but I honestly felt like Ron Burgundy was a different character. Champ Kine, Brian Fantana, and Brick Tamland still were the same people. They were great. You get the new cast of Megan Good and Kirsten Wiig, but Ron Burgundy just wasn't the same for me until a little bit towards the end. He was kind of picking up on himself, his original self, you know, that confident, cocky guy. But a little bit in the beginning, in the middle, he just kind of accepted the situation and just didn't go on for it. I laughed a lot at Anchorman 2. I think it was a funny movie, but for this movie, I had to dig deep in for this movie, because it was my most anticipated movie of the year, and I was pinpointing a lot of things throughout the movie. I am going to see it many times again, because I need to figure out if it's a great movie. It does not live up to Anchorman 1. It never will. As many times as I see it, it will never live up to Anchorman 1. This movie, I felt like, wasn't quotable enough for me. Anchorman 1 is very quotable. I quote Anchorman so much, but Anchorman 2, I felt like it's not as quotable. I'm thinking now, after I've seen it, I saw it at 9 o'clock last night, so now I'm thinking more about it. There were a few scenes that I laughed about and I forgot that I might quote, but Anchorman 1 had situations in my real life that I can quote, and Anchorman 2, I just felt like it didn't. There were a few scenes in Anchorman 2 that were a little bit cheesy. In the trailer, I'm not spoiling it for anybody, but in the trailer, you know, when he's like, Ron, why do you have this bag of bowling balls and this tank of scorpions? He's like, I don't even know. And then he's like, you know, cruise control just regulates the speed, not the wheel. And then they roll over, and the bowling ball hits him in the head, and the scorpion bites Ron's tongue. I wasn't laughing at that scene at all. I thought that scene was very stupid and overplayed and very cheesy. And there were a few scenes in the movie that were like that. But Anchorman, I don't want to rate it at this moment, because I will see it again. Maybe I will do a second review for it, but at this time, this is what I'm saying. I will give it a 3 out of 5 stars. I'm not saying I was disappointed. There were a lot of disappointing sequels this year. Good Day to Die Hard was terrible. Iron Man 3 was bad. Hangover 3 was bad. I didn't like Kick-Ass 2, so I was kind of nervous now with Anchorman 2. I didn't want it to play along the lines of those movies, but Anchorman 2, was decent for a sequel. Didn't live up to my expectations. I did laugh a lot with Brick Tamlin and the whole gang getting together. I didn't really think James Marsden was funny at all. Megan Good was alright. Harrison Ford in the beginning, he was but Kirsten Wiig as the new character, she was really funny. And the cameos at the end were hilarious, and I didn't expect a lot of them, and I was glad. I had a smile on my face. And then I just kind of was like, you guys just overdid it at this time. I really like that they played on how News Station is. There's a quote by Ron Burgundy in the movie. He said, why don't we, instead of telling people what they need to know, let's tell the people what they want to know. And that's kind of how news is now. About animals and random stuff all the time, and they played a lot on that, and I like that idea. I like the storyline. It was great. It's like a redemption story for Ron, and family, because he's got his son Walter in this now, and some other characters. Greg Kinnear's in it. I forgot. He has a little bit bigger role than I thought. But Anchorman 2, it was funny. Some other things I did have issues with. So yeah, sorry for the long review. I knew I had to talk a lot about this movie because this movie was my anticipated movie of 9 years. I adore Anchorman. Now it's my favorite movie of all time. The theater experience was really fun. I was dying for Anchorman. I was dying to see Anchorman 1 in theaters, and I was dying in the theaters. I literally had a smile on my face the whole time that my mouth hurt. And I had a smile on my face at the beginning of Anchorman 2, and then it kind of just died out. I'm kind of sad to say that it wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be the funniest movie of the year, and it may be. It's on par with a few comedies this year. Definitely not This Is the End. This Is the End is a lot funnier, but maybe like the second or third comedy of this year. So this is Justin Watches Movies. Please remember to rate, subscribe, comment,